my essential question for my senior project was, what are the steps to becoming an equine professional? My presentation outline, I'll go over my background with horses, including growing up with them, my inspirations, and my reason for pursuing my project. I'll go over contacting professionals, so the interview process I went through, my mentors and why I chose them, and where the connections came from for me. I'll also go over the exam, so a licensing exam, the challenges I faced with taking that exam, the online mock test that I took and preparing and studying for the exam. And lastly, I'll go over my future plans, including pursuing the career, what the project gave to me, and what I'm hoping to accomplish in the future. So a little bit about me with my background with horses. I started riding horses when I was 5. My sister, who is 2 years older than me, who many of you know, started riding before I did. And we have been riding at the barn I'm currently at, Shadowfax Farm, right here in Millis. I've been riding there for 12 years now, and I've always been in the same place. In the bottom left, that is me on one of our school ponies, Razzle Dazzle, when I was 5 years old. She is still one of our school ponies at the barn, and I now teach all of my little lessoners on her, which is kind of cool. The top left is me and my pony, Nemo, who I named after myself. His show name is Finding Dory. I was probably 9 or 10 there. At the top right is me and my pony, Always Owen. I was probably 12 there. That was at one of our competitions. And then the bottom right is me on my pony, Sugar and Spice, or Sophie, in Kentucky at the National Pony Finals. So a lot of my inspirations, you'll see in the interview process, a lot of them. I have had a lot of connections through the barn and through competing and all of that with vets and doctors and all the people in the horse world. It's a very close-knit community. Everybody likes to help everybody. Everybody talks to everyone. If you're at a competition, it's seemingly somehow everyone knows who you are. So it's pretty cool to be a part of. And then why I wanted to do this, not only as a project, but also as a career. I'm hoping to go to Johnson & Wales for equine business and management, and then continue to do this for the rest of my life. It's really become something in my life that's always been kind of there. I've done all the sports in school. I did basketball, soccer, softball. I did all of them, but all of them always got overcrowded by the horses, and they always came first. So it's really something that's become my biggest passion and something that I've always wanted to be a part of and to do. So I thought it was a really good way to spend this project, being able to kind of step into the bigger picture of it as a professional rather than as a student going into my college, into my career. So a little bit about my mentors. On the right, that's Meredith Wooster. She is the trainer at Shadowfax who began teaching me when I was 5. It's kind of crazy to think about because when she began teaching me, she was my age now. It's kind of like how I teach my 5-year-olds. I was like that to her. I was one of her first students, which is kind of cool to think about. And then I think one day I fell off maybe of a horse, like nothing bad. I probably pretty much landed on my feet, but it was enough to convince me that I was done. I pretty much started riding because my sister did it. It wasn't really anything I was ever into. And then pretty quickly after, Melissa, on the left of me, who owns Shadowfax, she's the owner of the barn, she told me it's time to get back on, and then ever since then I've been riding with both of them, and I've never stopped. So they have been my teachers for the past 12 years, and now I teach alongside with them, so we're the 3 instructors at the barn. So I've grown up with them. They're really like my family as much as my own. So it's kind of cool to see how much we've grown all together, and how much they've taught me. So these are a couple quick videos. This video on the left that I'm playing is me on that school pony Razzle Dazzle. I was probably 7. This is when I was first learning how to jump on a horse. So it's probably the first time I ever did 2 jumps in a row. And then this video on the right is me 10 years later, when I was 15 in Kentucky at the National Pony Finals. So Pony Finals is something that there are hundreds of kids competing at. You have to qualify on the national level, and then you travel to Kentucky. And you pretty much get to do one course, which means I go in there and I jump all these jumps once and that's it. And you're judged on how you look, how you jump, the littlest things you would never think about. So like, for example, this jump coming up. was pretty good, and then the next one I think I got a tiny bit closer to it, and believe it or not, that is like a huge deal for people. And it goes on, but you get the idea. So it's kind of cool to see the difference between me when I was 5. I was a scared little kid who only did it because my sister did it, and then going all the way to nationals. So the interview process. So the challenges that I faced during COVID, obviously it was really hard to find a way to get in a room and be able to talk to all of these people in person. It really wasn't an option, let alone COVID. Everyone in the horse world is always constantly moving. The vets are always doing barn calls, the trainers are always teaching. You kind of get a day off with most of your jobs, everything shuts down, you get a weekend off, but the horses are obviously live animals, so there's literally never a minute off. You're always working, even if you're on a vacation. So I thought the best way to do it would be to email or send a text to all these people who I could contact directly. So some of the people that I chose to contact, Dr. Fred Nostranke, along with Dr. Suzanne Lohiak and Dr. Stephanie Shen, are all the vets at Northbridge Equine. They've been the vet for my family and for our horses for the past 12 years. So they've been through every horse we've ever bought. They go through a vet check and all that kind of stuff. Dave Clancy is in charge of the horses' feet and their shoes. Nancy Dubin, Emily Nett, and Shannon Stevens are the owners and trainers at Little Folk Farm in Holliston. That's where my sister first started riding when she was really little, for about a year and a half. So they were really good contacts. Emily Nett and Shannon Stevens both graduated from Johnson & Wales with this program in this major, and both went on to own their own businesses, so they were really good contacts for me. Alex Quayle is somebody that my sister rode with pretty recently. I've talked to her a lot about her story and anything she can tell me. Melissa and Meredith, who are my mentors and then trainers at Shadowbacks. Dr. Stephen Katz, who, believe it or not, is my horse's chiropractor. And then Brittany Cooper, she owns a barn down in New York. We've worked a lot with her with buying and selling and trading horses. And Valerie Carter, who is a horse breeder, who at one point my family bought a baby from. So you can see the kind of screenshot. I won't read through it because it's really long. But that's what I sent out to everyone. It's pretty much saying, you've been a big inspiration in my life. Could you tell me your story and any advice you have for me? So a lot of the responses that I received, none of them really shocked me, but they were all incredibly encouraging. So my favorite 4 were, the advice I can give to you is the days are long and sometimes hard but rewarding. As hard as it can be, if you take a step back and see what influence you're making, it's very rewarding. Sometimes you may feel like you're the best at your job, and sometimes you may feel you're the worst, but don't give up because it'll all be worth it. My horses don't just influence my life, they own it. It's true they say it's hard and long hours. Days off don't exist, but it's work I enjoy. My biggest advice is to work with good trainers. Don't underestimate the knowledge you gain. Good luck in your equine adventures. Don't get so focused on the dollar that you don't take time to build that awesome relationship with your horse. To ride an animal that has spirit, trust, and love for their human is the most awesome feeling, and I hope you take the time to teach young people that they're more than just a horse. And keep doing what you're doing as you're already an accomplished horse person and growing every day by working hard and staying open-minded to learning. So taking the test, the licensing exam was my original plan for my project. I was going to study and do all the required materials by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and get certified as an instructor in the state. But my conflict was that if I were to pass this test, which hopefully would have been the outcome and receive my license, I would not be able to compete as an amateur in college at the collegiate level, so it really was not much of an option. But eventually I will need to take the test to get my license, so instead I took a mock exam. I did all the studying, I read all the books and all the required material by the state, and I took the mock exam. There is no written mock exam online because they don't really have just past tests because they try to keep it pretty similar. So instead, a lot of people that are in the same boat as me, people who have taken the test, write questions and answers down from the actual test on a Quizlet. So I went through probably 5 or 6 Quizlets of people who have taken the test. They write the little thing like, I took the test, this is the questions I had, these are the correct answers. Hopefully this helps you if you're trying to get ready for it. So I was able to take all 5 or 6 of those exams and pass all of them easily. So I'm pretty confident I would be able to do it if I were to take the actual exam right now. these are a couple of my students. All these little ponies are all of our school ponies. I think the favorite part of my job is being able to call my coworkers four-legged animals. They're all really small and really cute, and those are all my little kids. I currently teach 35 to 40 lessons a week, anywhere from ages 4 to 40. And I think it's just really awesome to be able to see kids when they finally understand something or have a connection with their horse, and you see their eyes light up and they just get so excited, and you all know that as teachers. And then my future plans, I will be entering Johnson & Wales Class of 2025, majoring in the Equine Business and Management with a focus in riding, and I'll be joining their equestrian team and competing year-round. And I hope to go on to eventually build my own business and continue to do what I love every day. So special thank yous to my mom and dad for supporting me through it all, Melissa and Meredith for being my mentors and helping me figure out all this stuff and getting these connections for me, as well as teaching me for the past 12 years. Miss Bartley for helping me get this project edited and really tell me it's time to get going and really make this the best project it could be, and all of my role models that I interviewed. I was excited and any questions.
Dory, great job on that presentation. I really don't have that many questions to ask you in regards to what you do in your projects, because I've been working with you all year long, and you did a really nice job here. My question, can you go back to the page where you had all the ponies and over there? So, who's your favorite pony to work with, or when you're meeting a kid, is it just whatever pony is available, or do you try to like match the personality?
So, the top left is Prince Ali. That's Aladdin. He's about this tall. He's one of our beginner ponies. He's pretty quick though. So they have to have pretty good balance to get on him. But he actually just retired. Razzle Dazzle on the bottom left, who I started riding when I was 5, has to be my favorite pony. I hate to say I have a favorite, but she's just the best pony I've ever seen anywhere. Bottom right, that's Tony the pony. That's everyone's favorite in the barn. He's just awesome. And then in the middle, the kind of silhouetted picture is me and one of my students on one of our ponies, Tommy Bahama. You can't really see him. He's more like a kind of the color of this podium. He's pretty awesome. So deciding which kid rides which pony it's a lot. How big they are, how balanced they can be.
Okay, so it's not just like whatever one's available. You do have a child with the pony. And the other question is, when I was watching you, doing the jumps and stuff, and you were talking about how you lose points for something that's, so seems insignificant to somebody else. As soon as your horse is jumping, can you tell whether or not they're going to land correctly, or
like me while I'm riding?
Yeah, like when you're going up, do you get that feel like this is not going to be a good?
I mean, I can tell. So what it's called is having a really good eye. So it's kind of finding the distance between you and the jump. So usually when I start looking for the jump, if the jump was at that door back there, I would start now. Would probably be about 11 or 12 steps, and I can usually tell right out of the corner whether or not I'm going to meet the jump well. So then you have to slow down or speed up. But yeah, as soon as I go over it, I know exactly how it was.
Excellent job, Dory.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Those interviews, that was a really good idea. You said there was editing involved. Sorry, what happened with those interviews? Are they in a video or are they in a?
No. So I sent it out to all of them, and I got the responses in a doc. I just copy and pasted them all into a doc and kind of put them all on a spreadsheet, so I had them all in one place together.
Oh, okay. Just for like your own sort of advice and inspiration for your particular career. Oh, okay, cool, nice, good job.
Great presentation. My biggest takeaway is how lucky you are to have found your passion in life at such a young age. And I think everybody probably wishes they had that advantage in life, so that's wonderful. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good job.